Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Murielle Fellous. Hopefully I pronounced it correct.
That's okay. Everybody butchers my name because it's French.
It's okay. But did I say it right?
Murielle, there is a more accentuation on the yell.
Yeah. Fellous.
Yep.
Okay,
yes.
Good. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you. We always like to kind of allow our guests to introduce themselves, what you're all up to, and so the audience and everyone can understand you better. Go ahead, please.
So what I'm up to, I just changed the name of my business because it came to me as a very strong intuition, and all my body resonated with it. So I went with it and I changed the website, getting a trademark, et cetera, et cetera. I'm also in the midst of moving internationally. And I think that's all on a personal level. Everything
what do you do though? What kind of business? Can you tell us more about that?
So my business is now called Co-Parenting with the Universe. And I'm a single mom who raised 3 kids by myself. And when my kids became teenagers, they started, acting out in potentially dangerous ways, self-destructive. So I spiraled into depression. And I didn't even realize that it happened until it was too late. So at that point, I was already a coach, but I was coaching on dating and relationships for several years. I bounced back using the tools that I'm actually teaching my clients. And when I was on the other side of the depression, when I came back to myself, I realized that it had been so painful that I didn't want any mom to go through that. So I changed my business to coaching single moms with teenagers, single moms who struggle with teenagers. And that's what I do today. It's a lot of brain tools, emotional intelligence tools, and a whole portion where you connect with the universe, God, the field, source, whatever people call it, to really tap in the power of that, because there is a lot of answering your answers, like finding your answers and asking for solutions and being guided to the next step. So I think that it's really a pity that we are not taught that, not in our personal life, not in business, because that's a huge resource and that helps me a lot.
So it's like mindset training, I guess, right?
It's a lot of mindset, spirituality, and I don't know if you're familiar with energy psychology. It's like emotional freedom technique, tapping. It's using the body and the nervous system and the energy system in the body to calm the nervous system down, so you can find your answers. Because in life, when you're anxious, when you're stressed, when you are in fear, your brain doesn't function normally. A part of the blood flow is redirected to the limbs because you're in fight or flight response. And you don't have access to the whole brain with all the resources. So that tool enables you to dialogue with the stress center in the brain and to intercept that stress response, so you can go back to your full resourcefulness and feeling better too.
So do the teenagers listen to this stuff? Because I have a teenager, I don't know.
So teenagers, I coach a lot of moms. I see my kids, they pretend that they don't listen to stuff. But then I turn around and I hear them coaching their friends. So a lot of stuff.
It's so true, right? Like, because when I tell them, they don't want to listen, right? So, but then I'll hear them, the older one coaching like the younger one with the same stuff later. So you kind of understand that maybe it is going in, seeping in.
It is. They just don't want to show us that it comes from us, because they're separating themselves on an identity level. But that's fine. It sinks in. Repetition, it will sink in.
That's good. That's good.
But as a parent, if you're not in a right emotional state and mental state, you're less efficient.
Yeah.
So for me, the moms, and I have one dad, is crucial, because you need to be the most powerful and happy that you can be to parent.
And calm.
But that's brain training in a lot of cases. I teach moms to, I'm just preparing a program after I'll be done moving, about putting an end to the constant arguments. And that starts with us. So when you can intervene at a brain level and start training your brain to not be triggered and to not react, everything changes. It's a much better, pleasurable relationship, much more.
For sure. Like I remember before I went through mindset training, it was always reactive, you know, it was always like any information that fed into my consciousness, it would just be, you know, fight or flight kind of situation. So boom, it would just be a snap and, oh, what happened? You know, so kind of, I react to everything. And once you start understanding the powers that you have within, and you're understanding who you are and all those kind of things that you do, it creates a very calmness of mind, you know, and that calmness of mind, I think is the key. And you have a really good point. How can you operate and how can you serve, or how can you take care of family if your mind, or if you're like really like all hectic, all that is going on up there is difficult, you know?
You don't come up with the answers. You don't come up with the solutions.
No.
And I talk about energy a lot, because a lot of people talk about the law of attraction. The way I see it is a little bit different. It's more a law of alignment, because it's like an elevator. If you are emoting at the level of fear and anxiety, you stop at that floor. And so even if we're talking about attraction, let's say, anything you can attract at that floor is only something that resonates with fear and anxiety. You won't attract something higher.
Attract likes, right? So the same frequency,
It's like a radio wave.
Wherever you go,
you're at that wave.
Yeah. So and what about vibrations? So vibrationally too, right? Because your mood dictates which vibrational frequency you're on to pick up that channel, right?
Your emotions, body generate energies. Now they can measure that.
Yeah.
And that energy will vibrate, and you will resonate with anything at that vibration.
Yeah. And everything vibrates, right?
Yeah. And it starts with, so you need to it's a whole body, mind, spirit affair. Yeah. Because you need to think a thought that will help you generate an emotion that is the right one to vibrate at the right level. And it all starts with thoughts. But most people are not aware of their thoughts.
No. That's a sad thing about it, but it's our job, like people like yourself, and to bring this awareness, you know, bring this level of awareness that, hey, you know, it doesn't have to be like this, right? It doesn't have to be like this. And all religious texts like theology and science, they always say live from inside out. You know, live from inside. Don't be a plaything for what's happening outside. Just live from inside. Just expect good. Be, you know, so it's such powerful stuff. Like I never really believed in this stuff, to be honest. Like I was, you know, I would be one of those guys that was saying, oh, what are they talking about kind of thing, right? But once everything it got me to a point that I had to borrow the belief. I had to believe in people like you and say, you know what, they're coming right in front of me, looking at me in my face. The energy feels great. They feel very honest. They feel very pure. They feel very giving. How can that be fake? Like intuition is telling me good. So let me try it. You know, so I opened my doors and everything changed. I want to ask you, did you have a mega type of a transformation from before? Like, were you like the masses before and then you realize, is there a story between that connection?
I had several, because I wouldn't listen to life until it kicked me. Literally.
Okay.
So I started discovering all these energy and I've been studying mindset for the past 20 years. I started with Tony Robbins, started learning the tools, and slowly, I was introduced to more a combination of spirituality and mindset.
Okay.
And so I was, like everyone else, thinking about that sometimes, but getting with my old habits. I got sick. I got contaminated with hepatitis B, and it almost killed me.
Oh.
I was in the hospital on a bed, and the doctor literally told me, "We're not sure that your liver is going to make it. The liver doesn't react to the medication. We need to wait 2 or 3 days to see where it goes." They had to fly me in a medical airplane from Nevada, where I live, Las Vegas, to San Francisco, to Stanford, because they had specialists there. And when I got there, they were talking about the fact that my liver didn't react. And then they were talking about a liver transplant. And I was in the middle of that, and I already knew tapping. Tapping is a combination of using the acupuncture meridians and modern psychology, like cognitive behavior psychology and exposure psychology. So I was using that tool to calm myself down, because otherwise I would have been super scared. And to make long story short, they told me I would be on meds for the rest of my life. I'm not anymore. So I had to really practice what I preached. I had to really incorporate God, the universe, in my day-to-day life, because it was a matter of life and death now. So I passed that. I'm off meds, and then my kids started acting out. And I was waking up in the middle of the night, like in terror. Are they going to come back alive, or are they going to be dead somewhere in a party or something? And I was so anxious. Like I told you, it spiraled me into depression. And I ended up saying, I don't want to be here. Just take me. I would never kill myself, but I was like, this is too hard. I can't do it. I want to disappear. And one night, so I asked for help, of course. One night I woke up in tears, and I realized that I didn't like my life, but I could never see that before because I was so judgmental. A mother should never say that she doesn't like her life, because I have healthy kids. It's a blessing. That means I don't love my kids. And then I realized that it's not true. I can not like my life the way it is now, and I can still love my kids. I can still be a good mother. And that night it became clear, because I was able to look at myself with enough compassion to stop the self-judgment that was so strong. And that was the beginning of healing. So from there, I even paid more attention. So my friends were telling me, go take antidepressants. I don't want to touch antidepressants. And plus mine was a situational depression. So it's not like a chemical imbalance. So I said, I'm going to use the tools I know and I teach. And that's what I did. A lot of thought awareness, because sometimes when a thought is too active, when the fight or flight is too active, you can't pick another thought and calm down. It's too strong in your body. Your nervous system is on alert. So I use tools to calm the nervous system. The tapping, again, the emotional freedom technique, which I use in my life and everywhere with my clients. And I calm down. Every time I was in anxiety and terror, I started tapping. And I was like, okay, right now I'm safe. My kids are safe in this moment. Do I really want this thought to create my life and to create my emotional state? So, of course, once you're calm, you're like, no. And you can pick another thought. And the other thoughts were something like, I'm safe right now. I have what it takes. And I had to do a journey where I had to realize what are our areas of power and what are our areas of powerlessness. because we don't control anyone. We don't control our teens. And you cannot protect them 24/7. And if God forbid you are meant to lose a child in this life, there's nothing you can do that will stop that. So I decided to really go to the bottom of my fear and surrender to the fact that I believe that everyone signs up for stuff before we come on earth. And what their soul decided, I have no power to stop that. So I have no business thinking about that. It's in the hand of the universe, and the universe has protected me. It has protected them so far. There is no reason for it to stop. So once I surrendered my desire to control 100%, and I left that powerlessness area in my life, and that's something that relates to family, business, anything. Where we are powerless, it's better to just surrender it, because otherwise you have a part of your energy and your brain that is constantly active, managing that behind the surface, and you lose your potential for creativity, your potential for everything. So I decided that's powerlessness. I'm giving it to the universe. The universe will deal, because it has always been there for me. And I concentrated on my area of power, which is, what am I thinking? Because what you're thinking will show up in your life at a vibrational level, but I'm sure you know about the reticular activating system in the brain. So whatever you think about.
I always see 911 everywhere, all the time, on my phone. Every time I see that time, 911. So in the morning, in the evening.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's in your consciousness.
Yeah.
You think about it somehow.
Yeah.
And so that's where you catch the thought. You're like, okay, if you're in fear, your brain is going to show you in the world why you should be in fear, because there needs to be coherence between the outside and the inside.
So it's the same as when you never realize there's a yellow BMW, when you realize and you keep seeing him.
Yeah. And there are so many studies about that, about the blindness of the brain, depending on what you're focusing on, because we're like a target machine. The brain is an amazing machine, but we just don't give it the right job description. It should be here to serve us, not to, and that's normal, because it's a survival mechanism. We need to spot whatever is out of order, because in olden times, it meant if the bush has been moved, maybe there is a tiger that passed there. Maybe you're going to be eaten. So the brain is designed to make you like there is a negative bias. But it's for us as conscious beings, as intelligent, analytic beings, to say, okay, I'm taking hold of that and I'm redirecting. I'm choosing what I want to think. I'm choosing what I want to let inside my brain, my mind, and what I want to do with it. So that was a constant exercise that I did when I bounced back from that night. That was the turning point.
Wow.
And it changed the way I do things in life. I rely, because I'm a double Capricorn. If I let myself, I would be a control freak. I would want to control everything, but you can't. You end up killing yourself and losing your potential. So I had to learn to relinquish what is not mine to God, the universe, and focus where I have power. And that's what I apply in my life everywhere right now, even in business. I mean, you can do the marketing, you can do everything. Yes, there is a bigger potential that you're going to succeed if you do certain things, but it's still not guaranteed. It still doesn't depend on you. There is an element of timing. There is an element of what's your purpose here? Are you busy with your purpose, or are you busy with something that shines and looks maybe so much more glamorous? Same thing.
So are you involved with any other kind of business other than the coaching?
No, I used to do energy before COVID, on hands energy healing. But I stopped because I didn't want to be in contact with too many people.
Yeah, of course.
And frankly, coaching is my passion. Because I'm a mom and I still have a day job and I have the business on the side because I'm a single mom. And I'm very transparent about that because I want moms to realize that no matter what you have to do, if you have to have a job, if you're busy, you can still create your dream, and it progresses and it grows until you're at a point where you're ready to make the jump fully, which it's coming, but it's a question of what do you want?
What do you want? Yes, such an important question.
Yeah.
And people don't realize.
And how is it for me? Because I work in accounting, because that was my original degree. It is financing my dream. It is the investor in my dream, because that gives me the money to live, eat, and everything.
Of course.
Invest in marketing and grow my business to where I want it to be.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Do you have any kind of recommendation for someone who's working a full-time job, and they're just feeling kind of stuck or something? Do you have a kind of recommendation what they should be doing to make themselves happier, more content? Is it to start a side hustle? Is it to start a business? What is in your experience, what recommendation you could give someone like that?
Two things. Start doing something that makes you feel alive. It doesn't matter what it is. Either if it's a business, if it's you love cooking,
walking in nature.
Yeah, something that makes you feel so alive that it's worth being alive. And because it will give you more energy. Like, I work very late sometimes at night. I have clients internationally in Europe, and so the time difference, is like 10 hours. And the other thing is, if you're dissatisfied with your job, in my experience, things start changing only when you are accepting what is, and you see the blessing in it. And the blessing in a job that is not satisfying for you, that is uncomfortable emotionally, is to keep your motivation alive to create your business. Every time something that you're not going to like is going to happen at work, yes, that's why I need to continue putting the effort in the evening to make those videos. That's why I need to continue talking to people, because it's a blessing that it's feeding me right now. I'm grateful, but I'm not completely happy with it, because comfort can be the enemy of growth.
For sure. I agree.
Yeah. So thank God for that uncomfort. That's what I did. That's what I still do when I don't like the corporation mind.
Yeah.
I'm not like...
Being uncomfortable is probably our number one reason why we enjoy so many things we do enjoy in our life.
Yeah.
The car was made, because we didn't want to walk forever, right? So everything was developed to make things easier. And, it's uncomfortable. Let's make it comfortable, right? We were given these gifts to create that environment for us as human beings.
And I even heard, because I follow a lot of, I don't know if you know Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
So he was talking about the fact that what makes the zebra get up and traverse the savannah to go drink is the uncomfort of thirst.
Good point.
So we're even wired this way.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot, anger has a bad rap. So of course, to me, every emotion, if we have emotions, they're all useful. The key is to learn the lesson behind it, do the healing. Like, if you don't feel, you can't heal. So even anger, as long as you don't bathe in it, and if you express it in a healthy way that doesn't hurt anyone, it can fuel you to build what you want to build. It can be a fuel. It's like, they told me I would never succeed. I'm going to show them. That's anger.
So basically a good fear and a bad fear, good and bad. Because bad fear would be that, anger would be, bad anger would be, go lose your senses and do something bad, right? But a good anger would be, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to succeed, kind of thing. Yeah.
And anger is, most of the time, it means something has been crossed. A boundary has been crossed. So be very aware of that, because that will help you heal. It's like we set the limits on how people can treat us. They don't. It's our job to say, I am no longer accepting that. So when you're angry, that means somebody crossed something. What did they cross? Do you need to set a stronger boundary? Do you need to start loving yourself more and stand up for yourself maybe a little bit more? There is so much richness in negative emotions because they are messages from something deep within us.
Well, you know what? It's been great having you on the show, Murielle. Like your knowledge and your experiences that you're sharing with everyone. We're hoping that it can provide some awareness, some different type of thought patterns. That's what this whole show was developed based on, is to provide value or some kind of aha moments to make people's lives better. And I hope this kind of message gives someone something. And I'm really thankful that you came and you had the time to come on the show. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I don't know if I have a gift for the audience.
Yeah.
So it's a freebie. It's called Back to Peace Kit for Moms, because and you can use it even if you're a dad.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-part kit for when you had an argument with your teen and you want to calm down, or when you want to, if you know what chakras are, there is a meditation about chakras. It's really to go back to some kind of inner peace so you can rejuvenate and continue doing whatever you're doing. And it's on my website.
Okay, great. That's perfect. So do they have to enter a code or anything, or they just?
No, they go to co-parentingwiththeuniverse.com, and when they join the newsletter, they receive the kit, and then they can use it over and over and over.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And again, I'm so grateful they came on the show, and I wish you all the best and success so you reach more people to help them live happier and more content.
Thank you. And likewise, because you help people in business, it's needed. Now we need to all be happier and do what
COVID brought all of us together. That's the best thing. And I think everything happens for a reason. So I think COVID was a reason to bring all humanity closer. I find that it did. There's bad stuff too that happened, but it did bring good people. It brought good people together like never before. So
it did.
And I'm always here if you need anything. I'm a message away. I'm glad to serve in any way I can. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
It's an honor.